thought scared the crap out of me. I pulled over to the side of the road, hysterical crying, tried to calm myself down. Like I certainly didn't want to hurt anybody else. And I didn't want to leave my dog and my parents without somebody to care for them. And it was just this kind of like big wake up call that as I sat there, I was like, something big has to change in my life. And I took a month off from the rescue and ended up not going back. And I spent the next couple of months emptying my plate of everything that was non-essential. If it was not 100% necessary, like it got thrown away, or not thrown away, but, pushed off.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, I looked at my plate and it was full again. And all those responsibilities like brought friends. And that was when I realized that when you don't say no to things, when you say yes to everything, they keep coming.
What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become their favorite versions of themselves and to strive for overall health by healing their relationship to food and exercise, healing their relationship to their body, and most importantly, healing their relationship to themselves, all without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time someone shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast. Welcome to the Unveiling the Beast podcast. My name is Katie. I'm your host. Oh my gosh, I don't ever do that, but I felt this urge.
Yes, off to a strong start.
Oh my gosh. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are and why you think you are who you are?
Yes. Hi, my name is Sheryl Green. I am the How to Say No expert. And basically, I'm all about no BS boundaries. And I'm that way because I did it wrong for 40 plus years and ended up burned out, resentful, depressed, and at one point suicidal. So I've gone on this journey over the past 3.5 years. I wrote my 6th book. You Had Me at No. I always do that wrong, but it's that way. You Had Me at No, how setting healthy boundaries helps banish burnout, repair relationships, and save your sanity. And I've been teaching and talking about it and doing workshops and coaching about boundaries ever since. And I absolutely love the change that I see in people.
And so I know you didn't actually say this, but would you have labeled yourself a people pleaser?
I 100% was a people pleaser. I actually should have won Olympic awards if anything was a sport. Yes. Yeah. I never knew that I was actually supposed to be the most important person in my life. And so I tried to please everybody else while ignoring the fact that I should actually kind of make myself happy every once in a while.
I feel that 100%. I'm a recovering people pleaser too. So, yeah. And I always say recovering because I feel like, healing is ongoing. It's never like, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then I'll be healed and free. Yay, because we're still alive, right? So, yeah, I really feel that. And, to an extent, people pleasing can extend into the perfectionism that we were talking about before I hit record. We try to do the perfect thing to please the person that we're doing the perfect thing for. And it's just like this wild not psycho. That's not, it's wild. Yeah. Brain fuck, mind fuck. That's what I was looking for.
There you go. Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it completely is. And I think we fall into that trap because of childhood and because of, the messages that we receive as kids. And it's really hard. It's one of those things you hope that you turn 18 and like a light switch flips,
Mm,
or someone hands you a manual of here's how to be an adult and here's, how to do the adulting. But no one does that, or I didn't get my manual and I have a complaint to make. But no one does that, and we have to kind of learn ourselves things that maybe our parents didn't even know to teach us.
hmm. Yeah, that's a big one too. Well, I wanted to ask you, like, was there a specific area where it showed up the most for you in the people pleasing and or perfectionism?
Yeah, so I always kind of noticed it in my personal life. And when I say people pleasing, I also include codependency into that.
Hmm.
I need people to need me. Like my purpose on this planet is to take care of others and to sacrifice for other people's needs. And I noticed it at home. I definitely noticed it at home. I saw it with my mom. I saw it with my first husband. And I don't know how old I was, and I realized that it was trickling into the workplace. But it was probably sometime after college. Not that I did anything about it yet, but I recognized it.
Right.
And I worked in a bank as a teller, and we used to wrap up at the end of the night, and we were, I mean, fast. Like you wanted to be out the door within 10 to 15 minutes of the last customer. And I remember running around like a headless chicken with my beak on fire, if that's a thing, on feathers on fire. That probably makes more sense. And trying to do all the things. And one of my coworkers was literally just standing there, like watching and kind of like chuckling to herself because she realized really quickly that she didn't have to do anything because I
Mm,
would do it all. And looking back, like as I was writing the book and as I was kind of developing this whole world, um I was thinking about that, and I was like, oh, like I didn't set a boundary. I didn't share the responsibility, and that's on me. It's
yeah.
not like she asked me to do that. She just stood back and laughed while I did it, and left her just hanging out. If I think this was before cell phones were attached to us, but she would have just been chilling on her cell phone if it was today. So
Yeah. Did it have like that added, or I should ask, did you have that added piece where, like, for me, it was, sure, you can help me, but you have to do it my way. Otherwise, I'm going to go redo it anyway. So,
I don't actually think I had that.
okay.
I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit on this one. I've been surrounded by it a lot, but I'm not so much a perfectionist in that way. Like
Okay.
I'm doing something and I'm doing it for the first time. I don't know why I wouldn't be an expert at it. I mean,
Hmm.
it should,
Yep.
it should take to everything like instant. But no, if other people are doing it, and I probably have a good enough setting
Mm.
where I'm just like, that's fine. It's fine. I don't. This is going to be some soul searching. So can you like shoot me a follow up email? Come on.
Sure.
Do I have this?
Side note, I do offer my guests a free coaching session if
There
you
you
want.
go.
Um, yeah, it's interesting how different people have different kinds of people pleasing and perfectionism. Um, like mine started young in the whole I didn't have a perfect body and therefore I wasn't enough. So the perfectionism was constantly trying to shrink my body to make it fit what everyone else thought it was supposed to be in the name of health.
Yes.
Um, and that was really young, like that started at 8. So that's where mine started. And that did take a lot of coaching sessions and therapy to figure that out. Um, but my question for you would be, When was like the clicking point where you're like, yeah, no, fuck this. I can't do this anymore.
Oh yeah, I call that my oncoming headlights moments.
Okay.
And it happened about 3.5 years ago. This was post COVID, like coming out of COVID, and as many people experienced, COVID was this huge life changer. In that I had this, healthy, thriving writing and book coaching business pre-COVID, and 3 days into it or 2 days into it, every single one of my clients canceled their contract.
Mm.
Or, well, I didn't have contracts at the time. Let's be honest. This was pre-boundaries. But they canceled their work or they put me on hold, whatever it was. I no longer had an income. And I had been volunteering and at times working part-time for an animal rescue. So when my income and my business disappeared, I went, okay, reevaluate quickly. And I jumped into the rescue full time, eyes closed, like I'm 100% here. The only thing I didn't do was negotiate a living wage.
Mm.
So I was working these like 16-hour days. I was only making double what I was making for my part-time work. So hours have increased, triple, but income has not. And I was doing okay. I was passionate. I loved it. I was saving animals. I was, doing what I loved with marketing, and everything had a dog pun attached to it. So life was good, but I wasn't honestly making enough money, and I was dipping into savings every single month, and it was getting bad. So when my clients started to come back, okay, the world isn't actually ending. Maybe we should have some content for our business. When the clients came back, I took them. And so now I'm working these 16-hour days, and then I'm going home and I'm working on client work for a couple of hours in the evening. And my parents at the same time, so my dad and my stepmom lived 7 minutes from me, and they were going through a health crisis, getting older, needing more support, physically, financially, all the things.
Hmm.
And I just burned out, and I didn't know what it was at the time. I don't even think I'd heard that term. But I started crying all the time. I wasn't sleeping. I was drinking, which is something I just don't do. It's not my coping mechanism. But I was drinking. I was short with everybody, like just snapping at people. And I think what hit me the most was just this overwhelming feeling of resentment. I was so angry at everyone in my life. And, even just this small request seemed like this grand demand on my time. And I was driving down the road one day. It was dusk. I started seeing headlights come on. And for the first time in my life, even though I'd gone through a depression 8 years earlier, for the first time in my life, I thought about crossing over the median. And it was just this, there's absolutely no end in sight. And as you so eloquently put, fuck this, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So this thought scared the crap out of me. I pulled over to the side of the road, hysterical crying, tried to calm myself down. Like I certainly didn't want to hurt anybody else. And I didn't want to leave my dog and my parents without somebody to care for them. And it was just this kind of like big wake up call that as I sat there, I was like, something big has to change in my life. And I took a month off from the rescue and ended up not going back. And I spent the next couple of months emptying my plate of everything that was non-essential. If
Mm.
it was not 100% necessary, like it got thrown away, or not thrown away, but pushed off.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, I looked at my plate and it was full again. And all those responsibilities like brought friends. And that was when I realized that when you don't say no to things, when you say yes to everything, they keep coming. And people are more than happy to give you extra responsibility and extra tasks and roles and favors that they need. So that was kind of the wake up call that, hey, maybe I actually need to change something about myself, not just my schedule.
Mm. Follow-up question for that. Was there any guilt attached when you did start saying no?
There was a lot of guilt attached. Part of it was I did it wrong. Um, and so I was reading, a friend recommended a book to me, and I'm reading the book. And the very first chapter, and I put this in mine as well as like a cautionary tale. The very first chapter said, like, when you start setting boundaries, like, don't just go up to people and go, I'm setting boundaries. Like, don't do that. It doesn't end well. And I was like, no, it's okay. I can do it. No, don't do that. Um, don't do that. So, the first people, my dad and my stepmom were incredibly close. We were, really, really close knit. And I remembered having a conversation with them and saying, well, I'm starting to set boundaries and I need to put myself first. And I said all the things that you don't really need to voice. And my stepmom's response was, well, who's gonna help us? And yeah, a lot, a lot of guilt around that.
Mm.
Um, there's still a tiny bit of guilt, when you say no to something that's important to someone. But it's manageable and it's necessary. And it's better than the outcome if you don't.
Yeah. I feel like this ties beautifully into our pre-conversation about life keeping on, like, how did I say it? Life keeps
Life keeps
lifing.
on lifing.
Yeah, and I think, so in my coaching training, we talk a lot about language and how like the language that we use can change the way we see things, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
and the example that's coming up to me is a lot of times we'll be like, I'm so overwhelmed. And then like if a client says that to me, I'll say, how are you overwhelming yourself?
Oh, okay.
And sometimes they're like,
Yes, I was gonna say, I bet you get
yeah,
the finger a lot.
yeah. And then other times it's just kind of like they start realizing things like I'm saying yes to everything. And so, yeah, I'm kind of sort of doing it to myself. And like, what can I do to stop saying yes to everybody and everything?
I love that you bring that up because one of the things that I preach is 100% radical responsibility. And even before I was on the boundary kick, I used to talk about resilience. I had a hell of a divorce story, which is a conversation for another episode. But I remember reading something while I was going through this personal development period, and which is life, that shouldn't be a truncated, but whatever. Um, I remember reading something that said when you position yourself in victim mode, you're helpless to get out of it. But when you take responsibility for where you are in your life, well, then you have the power to change it.
Hmm.
And when I'm working with people for boundaries, that's I always say that, like, if you, and again with the verbiage, if you go from they are taking advantage of me to I am allowing them to take advantage of me, worlds apart.
Hmm.
And now you're admitting, you know what? Yeah, things have been a little screwed up in the past. However, I allowed it. And now I can make that conscious decision in this moment, whatever time it is, that I'm going to do things differently and I'm not going to allow it. So it really like gives you that power back. But yeah, it's a kick in the ass to have to admit that you're where you are because of your actions. That
Yeah. Yeah. Just for the listener's sake, I'm going to pull out another example. One of my other favorite examples is like when people say I can't, when they're learning something new or they think they can't do something, I'll have them either add yet
Yeah.
or I'll say, okay, now I want you to replace the word can't with won't. And so they'll say, I won't, which is essentially when someone says I can't, it's subconsciously like their way of trying to get out of doing the thing.
Yes.
So if you just say I won't and just like put it on the table that way, and they're like, "Oh no, but yeah, it's just language just totally changes the way you think about what you're saying.
It does.
Yeah. So on the topic of lifing, life keep lifing, like, yeah, life's gonna throw some really awful shit at us, and we're always at choice in what to do with it, you know? So, like, for example, I don't remember if you rescheduled or if I rescheduled, but it's highly likely that I rescheduled because life, man.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And something I actually recently learned about the whole, oh, yeah, my excuse is life. Like, say the thing that happened, because life is always gonna life.
Right.
Hey, what happened? Oh, my son got sick and he puked all over his teacher. Okay, cool. Life lifed. Yeah, I'm just rambling right now, but
No, and it's funny because when I saw it pop up on my calendar yesterday, I was like, oh, and I'm like Googling, I'm like, who is this person? How did we connect? It'll be fine. Um, and I saw, I'm like, did I ask if you need anything? I didn't hear back. I'm like, okay, I sent whatever needed to be sent, like, no problem. But it's true, so many things pop up that you're just like, well, this is it doesn't take priority over family and the true people you care about or animals you care about.
yeah.
Um, and I say that with a grimace because my husband and I just adopted two velociraptors. I can't.
Say no more.
I love them so much, but they're freaking dinosaurs with fur. And yeah, just today, I was right before this, I was trying to unfluster myself because they were digging at the base of a plant that put one of them in the hospital about a
Mm.
month ago. So I am hysterical, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm good, I'm fine, right? So, yeah, life be life, and especially
Yeah,
there's animals and children involved.
yeah, for sure. Whew. Well, I'm gonna do like a hard left and
Okay.
ask you, because this is a podcast of stories. Um, what is a story that you have, and unless you already told the story, it where you had like a mind shift or mindset shift, which is just exactly the same thing as I just said. And yeah, where it kind of just changed the entire trajectory of your life.
Um, while yes, what I've shared is definitely the kind of impetus for that shift. I'll go a little bit further into the story for you.
Okay.
Um, so that 6 month mark. Now, mind you, at this point, like, again, I'd cleared everything off my plate. I was just focused on my business. But oh, yeah, I also started dating my husband. And we moved really quickly. And we were planning a wedding very quickly. Our hashtag was taking it slow. So we were planning a wedding. The parents are older and sicker. I mean, it's not getting better. And my friend comes to me. I am in the National Speakers Association, the local Las Vegas chapter. And my friend, who was president at the time, came to me and said, Sheryl, I want you to be the incoming president. I want you to take over when I'm done. And like in that moment, I had, all the feels. And one of them was, wow, how cool I get to say I'm president. And like, hey, everywhere I've gotten in my life to this point has been through networking and through service, whether it's volunteering or, like somehow getting involved in something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great opportunity. And so I've got like the angel and the devil on each shoulder. And then I've got the other side that's going, oh, is now really a good time for that? Like, you're planning a wedding, you're still taking care of parents, your business is just reblooming after having been, blown out of the ground. Like, is that really a good time? And none of it mattered, because all I had was you have to make your friend happy. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
you can't disappoint your friend. You can't, you just can't say no. You have to people please. And I actually put off giving her a response for about 3 weeks. And I talked to my fiance at the time, and I talked to some mentors, and I talked to some people. And ultimately, none of that could break through the desire to people please. And I went to her and I finally said yes. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And the second that I did it, every cell in my body was like, what are you doing? Like, what that,
Yeah.
like, danger, Will Robinson, like, terrible plan, like, you have chosen wrong, like you chose the wrong pill, whatever it is. And she had said, bless her heart, she'd said that it was like 2 hours worth of work a week. Like, that was the commitment. Um, like, this is video, right? People can see my face. Do I need to narrate what I just, okay.
No. Do it again. Go again.
So like then the emails started and the invitations for meetings started, and we were talking about more like 6 to 7 hours worth of work a week, not 2. And I'm freaking out, just freaking out. And I ended up speaking to a mentor for the chapter who said, it's not bad if you tell her no now. What's bad is if you go through the training, you take up the spot, you've got everybody thinking you're going to do it, and then you turn around at the last minute and say you can't do it. That's bad.
Yeah.
And, I sat with that for a little bit, and then I was on a plane and my Kindle died. And I don't know if you have had this experience, but oh shit, I'm stuck with my thoughts. That moment, like, oh God, I have to listen to what's going on in my head. And I made I made the decision in that in on that plane ride that, one, now is not the time for me to serve. And two, I had a boundary problem.
Mm.
And I probably wasn't the only one with a boundary problem. So I learned through writing and through research. So I started outlining my book on the airplane and got it about 60-70% outlined, and then went home and dove into the topic of boundaries and read everything I could and talked to a therapist and talked to coaches, and really kind of developed my own system. But it changed the course of my life for sure. And I will say, my new favorite statement is not now doesn't mean never.
Mm-hmm.
Because as of a week ago, I'm now the incoming president for the NSA. Because now's my time to serve. Like, now I'm in a place where I'm more, on solid ground, and now I can help. So yeah, that was my kind of mind shift, and my whole life shift.
Wow. I kind of want to just slightly rewind
Yeah.
and sort of dig into the topic of changing our minds, because I know a lot of people um, will freeze when it comes to making a decision because they're afraid that they will make the wrong decision. And like sometimes in our heads, making the decision means it's final.
Mm-hmm.
And we forget, like, we are a whole ass human being that has the permission in any situation ever to change your mind. even if that means hurting somebody else's feelings or like fucking up somebody else's plans, like if it's a decision that's going to make you better as a human being, you have the permission to change your mind. And I'm going to smack my hand on the table one more time.
Do it, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So I want to preface this by saying that I'm a little irritated, not with you, but with the general culture of like, well, fuck them. It doesn't work for me, so whatever for them.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of swung a little past center when it comes
Mhm.
to healthy boundaries to the point where we think that we can just say, well, I'm protecting me, I'm protecting my peace, so screw everybody else.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
point.
and that's not a way that we want to live.
Right.
Aside from our own ethical code, moral code, whatever it may be, but also it's not how we want to interact with society, because society is not going to want to interact with us for very long if we're like that. That being said, yes, 100% you can change your mind. Do it
Mhm.
early as physically possible. So like the mentor said, like it's not bad if you say no, it's bad if you wait 10 months and then turn around and say no, because
Yeah.
I gave them plenty of time to find an alternative. Was it ideal? Absolutely not. And now, like, as part of the leadership team, we have like a 3-person deep, I forget the word, uh, but like a succession plan. um,
Hmm.
it wasn't ideal, but it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
I had only said yes like 2-3 weeks earlier before, so it wasn't like the earth had moved to put me in a position. So I would tell them as quickly as possible if you are going to change your minds. Um, be empathetic. Realize that you are changing somebody's plans. You are, throwing a wrench into their plans. You are possibly screwing them over slightly. um so be empathetic to that and say like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, I realize that this matters to you, that this is important, whatever it may be. However, I'm not going to be the best person for you. I'm not going to show up the way that you need. I'm not going to serve the way that you deserve. Have a little bit of context. And one of my other, I'm going to jump off my soapbox in 1 second. But one of my probably my least favorite statement at this point is no is a complete sentence. I was actually listening to a podcast and they said it, and I'm driving and I just start screaming. So it might be a little trigger for me, but yes, it is. However, if we're trying to maintain relationships and move them forward, you need a little bit of context. And while
Yeah.
you don't have to give them, a 6-page report on why this isn't the right time for you, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, I'm so sorry. I thought I could do this, but it turns out I have too many responsibilities with my family right now. Or I'm in the middle of launching a new product, business, whatever. I can't do this. I can't do this to myself, and I can't do this to you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We don't have to, be apologizing for the next 5 years, but get it out.
Right.
Um, and the last thing, because I know this was the longest answer you didn't ask for,
No,
but
I love it.
the last piece of advice I would say is, if you can offer an alternative, if you can offer a referral or a recommendation, a connection, a something, and say, you know what, I'm so sorry, I can't do this for you right now. However, I know somebody who may be able to. Or I thought I could help you in this way. It turns out I can't. And I call this a yes and response. It's the like improv answer in my world. I can't help you in this way. However, I want to help you, and let me do this. So you're not saying no, screw you, you're dead to me. You're really saying like, this doesn't work for both of
Mm.
us. Here's something that may, and I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you added that piece because I think the way I said it was like, "Roar!"
It's okay. We
But
like
yeah.
that. It happens a lot now. And, we
Yeah.
went from no boundaries to like, fuck the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's not conducive to society.
You're
Uh,
gonna be very lonely.
yes,
Yeah.
you will have very good boundaries in place, but you will not have friends.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I appreciate that advice. Because, I'm a very empathetic soul, sometimes too much so, but uh,
There's a balance. It's a
yeah.
happy medium.
Yeah. So where can people find you?
So I'm all over. I'm omnipresent. My website is SherylGreenspeaks.com. That's Cheryl with an S. My LinkedIn is Sheryl Green. And I'm on Instagram. However, you're probably just going to be finding pictures of my dogs and plants or dogs eating plants.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you go to my website, you'll see all the different speaking and coaching that I do. But there's also a how to say no cheat sheet to download. That is a free resource for people. There's a ton of blogs on there as well if you want to kind of read up on boundaries. And I am on Amazon for my book, and there's also, hey, I did it right.
Yay.
There's also a coloring book that goes with it.
Oh,
It is
that's
an adult
cool.
coloring book. There is a spicy word. Please look at the second to last page before handing it to a child.
Okay.
That's my public service announcement.
Awesome. So I'll put all the links for the listeners in the show notes. Um, I have one more question for you,
Yeah.
and that is, if the entire world stopped what they were doing and looked at you and said, "Please, Cheryl, give me some advice," what would you say?
You not only have the right, you have the responsibility to set boundaries.
Boom. Beautiful beasts. Cheryl Green signing off. Until next time.